make sure that it's not a backdoor to independence. Now, in Canada, we had Prime Minister Chrétien coming up with the Clarity Act.
Well, we also had 2 referendums in this country, and they haven't had that there either, have
Can
they?
we propose something here?
Well,
what we are saying,
ahead,
we are asking a United Nations, a referendum supervised by the United Nations, like what happened in East Timor, to have the right to self-determination for Tamils. Are they in favor of that?
Unfortunately, if we have a referendum today,
under United Nations supervision,
it will be the Tamil people who the LTTE.
No, LTTE. You say that LTTE is limited to one side.
Let me finish.
It will be.
Yeah, it will be the entire north has been ethnically cleansed by the LTTE.
Which is not true.
Okay.
The Muslims have been thrown out from their own.
Yes,
they were
the Muslims are thrown out. So,
if I understand, you're saying if you had a referendum, it wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be accurate.
It doesn't reflect the population that was there before.
The main thing is we will oppose for a referendum if it happens, even if it is conducted by the UN, because these people, the IGA, what Mr. David Poopalapillai was talking about, making LTT as a sole single party in the conflict, which we will not agree at any level.
No, they say
because
that
IGA was only with LTT, which we are totally against. What democracy is that? What democracy did they talk about?
ISGA proposed elections after a few years of
it was a temporary agreement.
It's on public domain.
David, finish your thought.
ISGA said proposed elections after a few years of administration because the interim
we had
it everywhere in the world. Wherever this conflict was raging on, when there is a settlement comes up, you go for a interim settlement and make that interim settlement a permanent settlement. That's what proposed in Sri Lanka. Sinhala polity rejected it. Now they are rejecting the referendum as well.
Let me hear from Anna here, please. Anna, I know your group likes to stay away from politics. However, I wonder if you have a view as to what political option might best serve the human rights needs of the area. What's your view on that?
Well, if again, I do try to stay away from political analysis here, and you have plenty of people on the panel making this political analysis. I would say human rights come first. Before we can discuss any political analysis, any political settlement, any referendum, we need to make sure that there are people to participate in this referendum. So far, the prospects are that half of the people who could potentially participate in the referendum will be killed, and another half will be confined in internment camps indefinitely. So as long as that's the reality, I don't think we are there yet discussing any kind of political solution. But I do think how Sri Lankan government treats Tamils right now will seriously affect whether the end of this war is near or not. Going back to what the question you asked at the very beginning, because the military phase may be over, but if this kind of treatment continues, the actual victory will never be won.
Okay, I want Cheran, and then control room, please have the Toronto Star graphic standing by. I'll hear from Cheran.
Well,
first.
I mean, I am in agreement in principle with the previous speaker, but if the successive Sri Lankan governments have respected the fundamental rights and human rights of the Tamil people, the problem would not have gone out of hand. That is the first point. The second point, the F word in Sri Lanka, the federalist F word in Sri Lanka is federalism. You know, it has never been accepted by the large majority Sinhalese community. So I do not think that any Sri Lankan government will ever conceive or implement any kind of solution that would include federalism. That is a bygone conclusion. And finally, as far as my experience and my reading of the situation is concerned, any kind of solution will not work other than either a confederation or a separation that has become reality.
David?
For the last 60 years, the bitter experience of the Sri Lankan Tamils with the Sri Lankan southern polity is cheating and cheating and cheating. So many pacts were made, everyone was abrogated unilaterally by themselves, not by the Tamil party, including this ISGA. Before that, in 1957, there was a pact, 65, there was a pact, 83, there was a pact. Please, Mr. Yapa, can you answer this? Who abrogated this? Who walked away from these pacts? It was the Sinhala governments.
You want to respond to that?
I mean, you can go back into history
to find the answers.
And find all types of objections to every policy that you want to institute. I mean,
no, it's history gives you a lesson.
Let me go into the history of an hour and a half ago, which suggests if you drove up University Avenue to get home in the city of Toronto tonight, you would have driven by a Tamil demonstration. Let me go by the history of about 6 weeks ago, where there were literally, I think, 45,000 Tamils on the streets of downtown Toronto alleging genocide against the majority Sinhalese in Sri Lanka. Let me also read an account from the Toronto Star of that event. It goes like this. Sharanya Mohan looked back and forth on Front Street. As far as she could see, Tamils stood shoulder to shoulder denouncing what they called genocide in Sri Lanka. Banners and armbands said, "Stop the genocide" or "Send relief." "This is not going to end until the government has killed every single Tamil," said someone quoted at the scene. Is that right? Is that what you think is probably going to bring this thing to an end?
That's nonsense. I mean, there is no genocide going. There are at least 1 million Tamils living in the south, in harmony with the Sinhalese and the Muslims.
They're driven away from their home.
Can you please allow me to finish my sentence? Thank you. Now, with the LTTE holed up in a tiny sliver of land, the political spaces will open up, and there will be more discussions amongst all Sri Lankans about the way the country has to evolve. Now, that gentleman there said that Sri Lankan people will never accept federalism. Well, he assumes that the Sri Lankan people are what they were 30 years ago. But things have changed.
Things have changed.
Things haven't changed, actually, because you look at the latest opinion polls conducted by a Center for Policy Alternatives, right? It very clearly says that people are completely in support of the current government's military onslaught and the war, and they want to win. And then what they want to give is some kind of watered down solution, not even a solution, but that's a reality. And then one last point I would like to make is this: we don't have to talk about the political space now. The political space was there before 1972. What did they do? What did the government do?
I know what I have to do at this stage. I have to thank you all for coming, because we're out of time. Can I thank our guest out of town in New York City? And I know this was tough to be able to hear this and not participate at our table, but thank you for joining us on behalf of Human Rights Watch from New York tonight. Much appreciated. On the left-hand side of the table, David Poopalapillai from the Canadian Tamil Congress, Art Cheran from the University of Windsor. My thanks to you two. On the other side of the table, Asoka Yapa from Project Peace for a United Sri Lanka, Lenin Benedict from the Canadian Democratic Tamil Cultural Association. Thanks, everybody, for your presence here this evening.
Thank you.
The Agenda with Steve Paikin was presented by Vale Inco Limited, a pioneering nickel mining company transforming mineral resources into essential ingredients for everyday life. Ontario's 33,000 chartered accountants, public policy leaders since 1879. More information is available at casforchange.ca.